Do you ever feel like your dreams come true? Well, I'm gonna warn you. This story takes a little bit of a turn. This is honey horror. All of these stories are original, and I would greatly appreciate it if you would like, share, and subscribe. Feel free to comment below with your spook rating, or just let me know what you think of the tales. Now, let's get into it. For as long as I can remember, I dreamt vividly. Oddly enough, I would talk to my friends about my dreams, and each one of them would comment on how they just didn't dream, or at least couldn't remember them. I often wondered if I was different, but didn't think much of it until I was older. Around the age of 20, I started to notice a strong sense of deja vu. I later realized that everything that was happening to me in real life had happened to me in a dream I had had prior. I began journaling my dreams. I didn't really tell anyone about this because I didn't need people thinking I was into some quote-unquote woo-woo stuff. At least that's what my family called it anytime psychics or premonitions or anything like that was brought up. At that point, I had been documenting my dreams daily for about 4 months, and so far, about 70% of them had come true. The content of my dreams were fairly mundane, so I would see things like me walking into a new coffee shop, only to have it happen a month or so later when a new coffee shop opened in our town. I noticed that my dreams started to take a turn. These dreams were more like nightmares, and unlike any of the other dreams, they repeat. Every couple of nights, I dreamt that I'm walking through a playground towards a swing set. It's dark outside and a bit foggy in the dream. I get to the swings and I sit down. Next thing I know, the swing next to me is swaying gently back and forth, as if someone is sitting in it, but no one is there. I don't know what to make of this dream, but the feeling I get from it is what makes it an absolute nightmare. Each time it happens and the swing starts to move, I feel fear, dread, anxiety, and sadness all at once. Fast forward about a year, and I've stopped tracking my dreams. I've become so busy with work and school that I barely have time to sleep, let alone journal each day. Plus, I've become very close with a girl from work named Jane. She's super sweet, and we often spend a couple of hours hanging out after work, just talking and getting to know each other. One night, after a long shift, we head outside to chat by our cars. But a patrol car rolls through the parking lot, and an officer tells us that it's not safe to be there due to some recent activity that took place in the plaza. We thank them and get in our cars. After the officer rolls away, we roll down our windows and continue talking from inside of our respective cars. We decide to drive off to a local park and hang out there for a bit. Needless to say, I'm stoked. I couldn't believe that this girl I was crushing on finally wanted to hang out with me outside of the work parking lot. We arrive, park, and hop out. Both of us immediately head over to the swings and begin swaying back and forth as we talk about everything from work to school. We finally check the time and realize that it's after midnight and decide to wrap up our chat. After a brief goodbye, she mentions that we should hang out here again. She playfully asks if it's too spooky for me, to which I say no. I laugh and hop into my car saying, "Same time again tomorrow?" I drive home feeling like I'm on cloud 9. The next day, I head into my shift trying to hide my excitement. I look around for Jane, but didn't see her, and assumed I had the wrong work schedule. The workday was busy. As I waited on tables with the other servers, I heard about what happened in the plaza. Apparently someone had been abducted from there and found lifeless by the river just a week ago. The police assumed the suspect was linked to a string of abductions like this that had happened over the last year. I was honestly surprised I hadn't heard of it, but I rarely watch TV or check social media, so it wasn't too shocking that I hadn't heard. After an incredibly long and tiring shift, I go to the time clock. Right below the screen, I see the schedule, and I notice that Jane is supposed to be there. I stop one of my coworkers as they're punching out and ask if they knew where Jane was. He proceeds to tease me about our, friendship, and stated that he had no idea why she didn't show up. He mentioned that she had recently had some car trouble, so maybe that kept her away today. I hoped he was right. but couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Later that night, I head to bed, barely able to sleep. I kept wondering if I should have headed to the park and just waited, just in case she showed up. I assumed that she must be caught up in her own life, and I didn't want to be that creep who waits around in the park at night when the girl I'm meeting very obviously had some other things to tend to. The next day, I head into work, hoping that Jane would be there. As I walk in, I see that my coworkers are congregated around the time clock. They're talking in hushed tones. I walk over and ask what's going on. My coworker from the day before shows me a news article. It clearly states, "Small town meets tragedy once again." The article details how Jane's car was found on a secondary road, only 1 mile from her home. It was apparent that the car had broken down, but after surveying the scene, officers knew there was foul play. Less than 1 mile from her car, Jane's body was found. The nightmare from before has returned. Each time, in the dream, I go to an empty park, sit down on the swing, and the empty swing next to me starts swaying, and the feelings wash over me again. At least I know what it all means now. Wow, that one was heavy. Thank you so much for listening to Honey Horror. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe, of course. Please let me know what you think of this original tale in the comments below. I hope you have a spooky day.